Hello everyone. Welcome to World of Biswarupa, where we will discuss about comprehension in details today. I hope you will be able to understand its concept completely. You can take a screenshot or download the video for future preference. So without much delay, let's explore. At first, we should know what is comprehension. Comprehension means understanding. It is the noun form of comprehend. To comprehend means to grasp mentally in order to have full understanding of a thing. In a comprehension, the answers should be brief and to the point, which is the most important feature or characteristic of a comprehension. A comprehension plays a very significant part in the mental development of the students in the art of learning English, for which it is mostly prescribed in many schools and colleges. However, there are certain things which a student must keep in mind while following a comprehension. There are total 6 points to be followed. The first is read the passage carefully 2 or 3 times in order to understand it clearly and also its themes. Next, read the questions carefully and underline the relevant or significant portions of the given passage which you feel should be the most suitable answer. Next, write answers to the questions in simple, easy and correct language. Remember that the answers should be your own composition, means it should be framed by you and not borrowed from any external source. Do not try to copy the very words of the passage. The answers must sound grammatical and great care should be taken in the use of punctuation also. Number 6 and the last point is several answers should not be put in the same paragraph. Each answer should be given in a separate paragraph and should have its number corresponding to that of the question, which will make your work neat and clean and will also help to impress the examiner. Knowing the types of comprehension is very important in order to know which comprehension are you going through. There are total 3 types of comprehension. The first is literal comprehension, the second is inferential comprehension, and the third is analytical comprehension. What is literal comprehension? Literal comprehension involves the processing of factual, explicit stated information. What is inferential comprehension? The inferential comprehension level is when the reader infers meaning that goes beyond explicitly stated information. What is analytical comprehension? Analytical comprehension evaluates the quality of writing in a story or information against the traits of writing, which are ideas, organization, voice, word choice, sentence fluency, and conventions. It also checks the richness of the quality and originality of the writing. And it also evaluates the quality of quote-unquote small moment scenes in narrative writing. It evaluates the quality of ideas, details, and thought in non-narrative writing too. There are certain benefits of good reading comprehension skills, which are: number 1, being able to understand, analyze and respond to documents and written communication in the workplace. Number 2, improved ability to write clearly and effectively. 3, the ability to comprehend and engage in current events that are in written form such as newspapers. Number 4, increased ability to focus on reading for an extended period. And number 5, better enjoyment of and motivation to read. Now there are 2 widely practiced comprehension. The first is prose and the second is poetry comprehension. What is a prose and what is a prose comprehension? A prose is spoken or written language that follows regular speech patterns. It is made up of sentences and paragraphs as opposed to poetry, which is made up of lines and stanzas. The term quote-unquote prose is often used to describe writings such as novels, short stories, and narratives. Prose comprehensions are unseen passages from any novel, short story, or narrative. Next are the defining characteristics of prose. Number 1. Ideas are expressed through more quote-unquote straightforward messaging. Number 2. The written words reflects quote-unquote everyday speech. Number 3. Ideas flow in the form of sentences and paragraphs. Number 4. There are no intentional line breaks and sentences run to the right margin. Number 5. Standard rules of grammar and syntax are generally applied. Next is poetry comprehension. Poetry has line breaks and stanzas and also uses fancy words. In their minds, prose is far more straightforward than the abstract images and convoluted meanings of poetry. Again, their words and not mine. Next are the defining characteristics of poetry. First, ideas are expressed through artistic wording and form. 2. Includes rich with imagery and figurative language. 3. Often follow a rhyme and rhythm to add to the overall feeling. 4. Words appear in lines and are grouped into stanzas. 5. Conventional rules of grammar are often broken for intentional artistic effect. Next, poetry versus prose means which one is better to opt during an examination. In my opinion, and according to many writers, poetries are more complex than prose. So it's better if a student go with prose comprehension rather than poetry comprehension. Moreover, following are the points for which poetry is said to be more complex or challenging in comparison to prose. Poetry can be challenging to read or write. Perhaps it's better it takes a form that is quite different from the texts we read and the language we use on a daily basis. For example, poetry is composed of lines and stanzas. Each line can be as long as a sentence or paragraph. Other times, they are as short as a single word. Since poems are often rather short compared to prose, poets must carefully select the few words they use to convey their meaning. Poets often rely on this figurative language to convey abstract ideas and emotions. The use of too much figurative language makes it difficult for the student to interpret and dissect the word. In order to understand a prose comprehension properly, I have provided a sample of a prose comprehension. Below is a passage where the disastrous effects of tsunami on certain places is given. You have to go through it very carefully and then answer the questions that follow. A student will get very limited time in examination hall in order to complete a comprehension question, for which you have to divide your time according to your own wish and try to complete it within limited time frame. Number of questions will be according to your syllabus, which is prescribed. Always remember that you have to frame your answer from the very comprehension and not from anywhere else. Do not try to write your own imaginations or your own knowledge here. In that case, you may lose marks. Next is the sample of a poetry comprehension or a poem comprehension. A paragraph from an unknown poem will be given to you all, and the name of the poem will not be mentioned. You have to go through the poem very carefully and understand what the theme or message the poem is trying to convey. After you have completed this portion or this step, you can answer the questions properly. The questions will follow just after the paragraph, and you have to be very attentive while writing the answer. You have to follow the same points as you will during a prose comprehension. So I hope you have understood what is a comprehension. I hope it will benefit you. and please subscribe the channel to stay tuned with more such informative videos. Thank you.